أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإني من المسلمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علم التأويل واجعلنا من أهل القرآن. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we will all recite together Surat an-Naas. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. صدق الله العظيم. Alhamdulillah, looks like we have our brother back, alhamdulillah, back healthy. We're very happy to have him back here. طلع البدر علينا. ما شاء الله. Alhamdulillah. Tafseer of Surat an-Naas. Of course, as you all know, Surat an-Naas was revealed with what surah? With what surah? Baqarah? Surah al-Falaq and Surah an-Naas were revealed together. What are these two surahs called? Mu'awwidhatayn. Okay? And there's also another name, Muqashqishatayn or Mushaqshiqatayn. Basically, the two surahs that you seek protection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with. By reciting these two surahs, you seek protection from the evils of the external world and the thoughts that a person would have, the evils that make their way within, inward. You make isti'adha, you seek protection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from those things. I'm not going to go into the details of the things that I already mentioned in Surah al-Falaq because then it would just be repetitive. But just know, Surah al-Falaq and Surah an-Naas, again, they were 11 verses that were revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. And there's this difference of opinion when it was revealed. What makes sense is that it was revealed in Mecca and then brought to context in Medina when the Prophet ﷺ, sallu alayhi, when those Jewish, the Sahirat, the Yahudi Sahirat, they put sihr on the Prophet ﷺ, and they put that object, they put it in a well. The Prophet ﷺ had a dream. He sent the companions. It was 11 knots, 11 verses, Surah al-Falaq and Surah an-Naas being 11 verses, 11 knots. Each verse took out one knot. Okay? And so they were revealed together. Surah al-Falaq deals more so with the outward evils that a person would deal with. من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات, the sahir, the hasad, the outward evils that a person has to experience, and also the evils that usually affect someone's dunya. Surah an-Naas, it talks more about the evils that make their way within. الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس, the waswasa and the whispers that shaitan and even the shaitan from amongst people, because we know just as there's demons from shayateen, there's also demons. Pride month is demon shaitan month. So similarly as there's shaitan for the jinn, there's also shaitan for the ins. And so we make isti'adha and we seek Allah's protection from the evils that may make their way inside. And they usually this stuff deals more so with the akhirah. Okay, now let's go into the tafsir. Okay. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Of course, you all know, say, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. Malik an-Nas, the king of mankind. Ilah an-Nas, the God of mankind. Okay, a question might be asked, why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't he Rabbul Alameen? Isn't he? Of course. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. He's Rabbul Alameen. But why is he attributing himself to Rabb an-Nas, bi Rabb an-Nas? Why? Because the surah is talking about the waswasa that happens inward with people, right? So it makes sense that you're seeking refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using A'udhu bi Rabb an-Nas. That the thoughts that a person might have to deal with and the fitan that the person has to deal with within themselves, they seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's protection. He's my Rabb. Just as an abd, he has a Rabb. If something harms him, he'll be like, my master, this and this is happening. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's our Rabb. And so if we have any complaints, who we're going to go to? Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay, now a question. Why is قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ first, Malik an-Nas second, Ilah an-Nas third. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts it in this order because it goes from one level to higher level to a higher level. Okay? And that this is understood through lugha. When you say Rabbun Nas, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of mankind. Rabb in the Arabic language can be used very broadly. If someone owns a house, they're called Rabbul Bayt. I am the owner of this house, and a Rabbul Bayt. And a Rabb, of course, for someone that is a Sayyid over a slave, for example. Right? Malik an-Nas, and now that's more specific, it's a higher level. Why? A king. Is everyone a king? There's only a few of them. And of course, we're not going to put a king at the same level of a normal, average person. Malik an-Nas, he's the king of mankind. And then at last, only him, Azza wa Jal, Ilah an-Nas. He is the only God. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ Ilah an-Nas. So it goes one step above, each step goes higher and higher. The next question, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeat an-Nas, an-Nas, an-Nas? It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to explain to you, this is min atf al-bayan, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He's Rabbun Nas. Who is Rabbun Nas? Malik an-Nas, Ilah an-Nas. So it's as though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining to you who He is. He is our Lord. He is our King. And He Azza wa Jal is the sovereign of everything, and He is our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our God that we worship. And so it gathers everything. What is waswas? Waswas is what? Anybody know what it translates to usually? Whispers, right? Things that you say very quietly and secretively. Okay? It could either, this waswas over here could be referring to the person whispering, so the whisperer, right? قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِمَلِكِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ from the evil, al-waswas of the whisperer, okay? Or it could be masdar, right? Whispers, but it's referring back to the person whispering, but just على وجه المبالغة. Like if you say a person, mashallah, this guy is just fasting, he's fasting. You're just trying to say this guy fasts so much, we're just going to call him fasting. So similarly, in this way, the person who whispers, or the shaitan or the ins that whispers so much, they just called waswas. Again, it's just some lugha ikhtilaf. So, min sharri al-waswas, of the whisperer, al-khannas. Al-khannas, it basically means the one who retreats, the one who withdraws. So, what's meant by that is, when you say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, what does shaitan do? He runs away. Al-khannas, the one who retreats every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned. So, the best way to remove shaitan from wherever you are is to what? Say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Okay. Shaitan's waswasa, okay, can come in many ways. Okay. Number one, it can come in causing doubts in a person's belief. Sometimes, especially youth, they're not too involved with learning the tradition, and they go to school. Sometimes doubts come into their hearts. What should they do? Of course, they need to learn Islam before putting themselves in those situations. But they should say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." Okay, because shaitan tries to attack you by putting doubts in your heart. It doesn't make sense. Why does Allah only send male prophets? One time I was asked this. Why does Allah only send male prophets? Why do I have to pray 5 times a day? This is a question of that. Shaitan starts to put doubts, little doubts in a person's heart. So you say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." The second thing that shaitan will do is that if he knows, oh man, this guy, he's muwahhid, I can't mess with his deen, but let me try to get him to sin. He knows he's Muslim, he's mu'min, but let me tell him that, it's not a big deal. Do a sin, do 2-3 sins. All your friends are doing it, so he'll try to make him slip up with sins. If he knows, man, this person, he's not a person who sins. He's too pious. Now let me try to make him lazy with ibadat. Let me go to him, no, don't pray salah right now, pray later, And then that time you're taking a nap and the salah goes. Or, other excuses, he'll try to make you lazy with ibadat. If he knows that, man, this guy, you can't get him. So what he'll do is he'll make you have riya in your ibadat. So he'll be like, oh, you're praying? Man, good, let that person see. Look how nice your salah is. Read the Quran out loud so everyone can hear how good your Quran recitation is. Then he'll try to get you through riya, through showing off for others. And then if he's like, man, this guy is not going to do it for that, then he'll make you arrogant and proud within yourself. Man, look at me. I'm better than all of the other Muslims. Look at my Quran, look at my knowledge of hadith, look at my knowledge of salah and fiqh and tariq. Who am I? Who are these people compared to me? He'll make you mu'jab bi nafsik. He'll make you tatakabbar in a way where you think you're better than everyone else because, oh, shaitan, everyone is slipping, not me though. So this is another way shaitan does waswasa in people. And another way he does it, of course, is by putting hatred and jealousy and all of those things. When a person thinks, that person, he's jealous of me, or why does he have this, I don't have that. These things where you have hatred towards people, the jealousy towards people, even anger, that's from the waswas of shaitan. I can't believe your wife said that to you. How dare she say something like that? Why don't you go say something back? That's how shaitan does waswasa. Slowly, oh man, he said something he did. Who is he to talk to you like that? That's how he talks to you in your head. Who is he to say that to you? Why don't you say something back? Next time, don't let him say something. That's how shaitan, he does waswasa. And so we should, the ilaj for this, the cure for this waswasa is, of course, number one, al-iktharu min dhikrillah. You remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly. You remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly, and that humbles you. Who am I? I'm the slave of Allah azza wa jalla. And also, al-iktharu min al-isti'adha billah. Constantly saying, a'udhu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajim. Constantly reading these two surahs as well. A'udhu bi rabbil falaq and qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan. And of course, the third thing to cure this is to go against shaitan and being firm on this resolve. Question. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ, from the evil of the whisperer that retreats when you mention Allah. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ, the chests of mankind. Why did Allah say chest and He didn't say qulub? Why did He say sudur and not qulub? Because shaitan, Allah will not let him penetrate to your qalb. He's in the outer part. He's in your sadr, which is more outside of the qalb. So he cannot really get you. So it's easy to get rid of him just by saying a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. It's not like he's taking over your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't let him go all the way that deep. Alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. Sudur and not qulub. Okay, so alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas min al-jinnati wan-nas. It's clear, shaitan, of course, is going to do whispers to you, but even people, they do whispers to you. Okay? So wan-nas over here, min al-jinnati wan-nas, can mean two different things. Number one is your own self. Sometimes your own nafs, it'll tell you bad things, like you're talking to yourself in your head, and it might lead you to the wrong thing. But even more so is that external influences that a person may have, the whispers of shaitan, the culture, watching, the social media, YouTube, TikTok. You think you sit all of those hours binging and going through those things and it's not affecting you? It is. هذا الوسوسة. This is the waswasa that shaitan from the people and the jinn, they come and affect a person's heart, they come and affect a person's iman and make him less in ibadah and encourage him to do ma'asi. So wallahi, it's so important that we check who are we watching. It doesn't matter. People think that, mashallah, I'm immune. You know how weak a human being is? Wallahi, put yourself in an environment of evil for 1 year, see how you turn out after that year. It's going to be way different than who you are. Then put yourself, for example, 1 year in Medina, see who you're going to become. Two different people. Isn't it true? Just the environment you put yourself in really impacts who you are. So be careful in this matter, not to put yourself in a situation or listen from people that you know are going to be harmful for your religion. Sometimes people are like, I'm just listening to this. It's going to affect you in a way, whether it's apparent to you or not, it's going to affect you. So be careful who you. That's why they say, take religion from the people that you trust. Now another question. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala end the Quran with these two surahs? As you know, this is the end of the Quran. And the tartib, as we know, is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set. So why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala end the Quran with these two surahs? There's three different things that they mentioned. Ibn Junaid, talking about his own shaykh, Al-Ustad Abu Ja'far ibn Zubayr, he said, because the Quran is from the greatest blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bestow upon me and you, and when you have blessings, what do people usually do? When you have something really nice, they have?
The best for the last.
No, the best for the last, yes. But people usually become jealous. If you have a blessing, people usually have jealousy towards it. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's as though He's saying, I gave you this blessing, I gave you this Quran, now seek protection from the jealousy of people. Seek protection of the jealousy of people, because honestly, let's be honest, you know how many people that aren't Muslim, but they're against Islam and they wish that their religion or that the religion that they follow was similar to how the Muslims are and how Islam is. I talk to many Christians, you'll see that, man, the Muslims are so firm on their religion. They actually care. Look at their masjids on a day-to-day basis compared to our church only one day a week, right? And so they'll be jealous. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, seek protection from min sharri hasidin idha hasad. That's one wajh. Another wajh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, ayat were revealed upon me, I have never, lam yura mithlahun qat. These ayat, it has never been seen before. Okay, it's talking about Surat, it's talking about Mu'awwidhatayn, and also when it comes to Surah Al-Fatiha, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, it was not revealed in the Torah and not in the Injil, a surah similar to Surah Al-Fatiha. So basically, the beginning of the Quran began with a surah that nothing has ever compared to it, and the Quran ended with two surahs that nothing has ever compared to it. Don't you see that when a person usually writes a book, they try to make the beginning really, really well, and they try to make the end really, really nice too. Like the Muqaddimah you will usually see, especially in Arabic books, if you've ever read, the author really tries to flex all of his knowledge in the beginning, in the introduction. You all of his ulum, you see his lugha, you see his balagha, you see him talking about different things in few words, because he's trying to show you, look, this is a book worth reading. This is a book worth reading. And so the Quran, it starts with a surah so powerful and ends with a surah so powerful that if a person opens it, they're like, man, this book is definitely worth reading. A third reason is, of course, you begin the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. When you recite Quran, what is the first thing when we recite Quran? What do we say? أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's as though He wants us to seek protection with Him, Azza wa Jal, from the evils, from shaitan, in the beginning of our recitation and at the end of our recitation. So the whole time, we are protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we seek His refuge in all things. Now, a few lessons that we could take from this surah, and I want everyone to think about anything that they've benefited from the surah as well, as I go into the benefits that I took. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not tire, nor does He ever get bored from us asking Him. Look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, قُلْ أَعُوذُ say أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. It says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, ask me, ask me, ask me. You know, I will not get tired of you asking me. People will get tired of you asking them. Allah, He wants you to ask. He wants you to make dua. He wants you to seek refuge with Him. So, أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس. Allah, ask me for refuge and ask me for help. Another lesson that we could take from this is that shaitan is our greatest enemy. He tries to find every way to make us slip. فَبِعِزَّتِكَ, He says, Ya Allah, by your izzah, لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. I'm going to trick all of these people. I'm going to lead them to the hellfire. لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ ثُمَّ لَآتِيَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ وَعَنْ إِيمَانِهِمْ وَعَنْ شَمَائِلِهِمْ. Shaitan says, I'm going to come, Ya Allah, in front of them, behind them, on top of them, under them. Shaitan is a relentless enemy. You think you're good right now. Shaitan is after you, man. Shaitan is trying to get you to slip. He's constantly after you, always. How can I get this person today to be less of a mu'min than he was yesterday? How can I get him to do that? How? I just want him slowly to deter from the path. Sometimes, if a person has already slipped so much, he's like, you're doing my work for me. Some people, they're not as bad, but shaitan, he gets them on a day-to-day basis. And some people, shaitan, he runs away from. Like Umar radiallahu anhu. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from them. Shaitan, for a person like Umar, he's like, man, I wish he just keeps sleeping, because when he's awake, he's just going to do so much effort for Islam and the Muslimin. You should be someone like Umar. When you wake up, shaitan is like, man, this guy, I wish he goes back to sleep. Because this guy, when he wakes up, he's going to pray Fajr, he's going to read Quran, he's going to do so much khayr. It's better when he's sleeping. He's doing ibadah when he's sleeping, but at least he's not benefiting other people. That's how we should be. So we should be careful of shaitan. Also, waswasa, you can consider as shaitan's bait. You know how when you go fishing, the fisherman throws the bait, right? Or anything, you know, when you try to catch an animal, you try to bait them, right? And so shaitan, he uses the waswasa as a sort of bait. He sees, how can I get this guy to come close to me? You know, and there's a hadith that's reported in Bukhari and Muslim, where basically shaitan, when a person comes, when the adhan is called, he makes a sound so that the person doesn't hear the adhan. And when the iqamah is called and the person goes to pray, then he comes to him. He said, udkur hadha, udkur hadha. When you come to salah, shaitan, he tries to distract you. Hey, remember that? Hey, remember that? Hey, don't you remember this thing? Don't you remember this thing? And when you finish salah as well, he tries to distract you again from doing the tasbih, from doing the adhkar. And when you read Quran, shaitan will come in many, many different ways. Sometimes he'll get you from doing what's better to what's good. He'll find any way to just deter you from the path. So we should always seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from ash-shaytan, min al-jinnati, from the jinn, and min al-jinnati wan-nas. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit us from what we have learned. Inshallah, we didn't finish the Quran because we didn't start from the beginning of it. But I did the short surahs because people read these all the time, so it's important. And inshallah, we'll go perhaps from the beginning of Juz' Amma or maybe Surat al-Takathur, because the shorter surahs usually are easily digested and they can just be taken in one class rather than divided. And sometimes people attend one, not the other. If there's any reflections on Surah an-Nas from anybody? Any reflection on Surah an-Nas? No?
Spot on.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.